Alright guys, here's my next video. Like I promised, I'm going to show you guys what's inside the cabinet. As you can see, it's kind of a mess, but it's actually not that complicated. I used to have a lot of stuff inside. Now it's pretty much bare bones, if you look at it. So I'm going to start with this thing here. This is an HDMI, or not HDMI, it's a VGA switcher. So I used to have two different consoles connected, one on the top and the other at the bottom, and in the middle, the connection in the middle actually goes up to the screen. So if you want to use one console, boom, you push one button. You want to use the other, you touch the other one. But I only need one now. I don't need two, so I don't even know why I have that. It's not a splitter, is it? It's a switcher, isn't it? Yeah. Here's the power supply. Without this, the Lindbergh doesn't work. I'm thinking about getting another one just in case, because this cabinet's pretty old now. It's 8 years old, about 8 years old. So I don't know. You never know. If it just dies on me, I can just have an extra power supply. That's the good thing about living in Japan, is that you can get all this stuff through Yahoo auctions, what they call Yafuoku in Japanese. And it's really good. You can get it at a very cheap price. You don't have to go through a shop. Let's go on. Now, this in the back. So as you all know, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox, PlayStation 3, they all use optical, like an optical signal for the sound. So what happens here is that I've got the optical cable that goes from that hole right here, goes up into this box, connects to this box, and then is transferred into a simple stereo sound format, let's call it like that. Because this cabinet does not accept HDMI, it does not accept optical connections, so you need this adapter. I got this from Amazon, maybe 5,000 yen, 50 bucks. It works very well. It requires its own power supply, which kind of sucks. That's not very fun, but it's another thing you have to connect. But works very well. Yeah. So again, you got the switcher here, you got the sound here, and then these two little cables, they go up into the speakers. These two speakers right here, boom and boom. Okay. Here you can't see it, but that's pretty much the brains of what goes through the speakers, or the soundboard, if you want. I've never touched this. I've never removed this board. Well, actually, I have removed it once, but I've never actually touched behind. I don't really want to touch anything, to be honest. Here, well, you guys all know what this is for. This is where you put the original Lindbergh hardware, the brains of these old games like Virtua Fighter 5 and other games like Virtua Tennis. You put these games on this board. You could actually slide it out like this. I had a few things here when I was using that multi-game JAMA Chinese kind of like, it's called Pandora 501 or 401 games cartridge. I was using that, and in order to use that, you need a couple adapters, and I put those here. I'll explain that one day. I'm not using that anymore for a couple of reasons. I can explain that next time. So yeah, power supply, switcher that I'm not using anymore. This is a converter for the sound, and this is an HD Fury. So you've got the HDMI connection. This is for the display. Without this, the Lindbergh will not recognize a normal 720p signal from the PlayStation, from any consoles. You actually need this in order, kind of like this. So if you think about it, this adapter's for the sound, this adapter's for the display. So in the end, the Lindbergh is kind of primitive. It doesn't really accept all these new kind of signals or formats that we have nowadays. It doesn't accept HDMI. It's not 1080p. But yeah, with these adapters, yeah, you can figure it out. And this adapter cost me about 100 bucks. I had to import it from America because they had it on Amazon in Japan, but it was like 3 times the price, like 300 bucks. So yeah, that was And also it requires its own power supply, so that requires its own power supply. So there's that. So this is why I've got so many cables in this box right there, just to hide it, because it looks ugly if you just leave it outside. So all that is in there. So yeah, sound, display, and that goes up in there. Kind of looks old, doesn't it? Actually, these cables, they were kind of white, and now they're all like brown, you know, because of all the smoking, and all the people, all the yakuzas and the gamers, you know, smoking, and it just changed the colors of the cabinet. When I got this cabinet, man, it was filthy. It was really filthy. I mean, obviously it's secondhand, but oh man, it was dirty. It took me like 2 hours to clean it with Windex and all that stuff. So yeah. Anyway, so you guys probably think, yeah, this is kind of bare bones. It's bare bones for one reason. It's because I'm using these consoles, and now that consoles have so many emulated games, all these games that are being like re-released onto these new platforms, it's kind of pointless to go back to. I mean, oh no, maybe I'm saying way too much here, but from my point of view, if you want to keep things simple, you can play these games on these new platforms. You don't have to get these huge boards, get these multi-game cartridges. Yeah, anyway, it depends what you want to do, seriously. Oh yeah, so maybe I didn't explain this. So as you can see here, the sound, you've got the red and white cables, they go down, they go here. And these are the cables that are actually connected to the soundboard that is in the back right there. So something that's scary about having a secondhand arcade cabinet is that it starts to get old. I don't have any issues. I've never had any issues. 2 years and a half, and I've been playing this every day, or practically every day. But you start thinking about getting spare parts, a new soundboard, power supply, new cables maybe. You know, these cables are getting really old. Just things like that, just to keep this alive, you know. Like, even if I have to replace everything inside, if I can just keep the outer shell. And one day it's going to get to the point where I'm going to have to replace the screen, because it's going to get old. I've actually removed this display from the arcade cabinet. I got bored like 2 weeks ago, and I dared to remove the display. Yeah, it wasn't that difficult. You've got some bolts in the back. I actually did that, managed to do it all by myself, and then I just put it back. I don't know, and it works perfect. So that's pretty good. You know, some more experience, right? And then here, let's just get in here. Up, you've got the coin bucket with the key. Open this, and here you've got all these 100 yen coins, 20,000 yen, so about 200 bucks. So 200, 100 yen coins. Look at that. I cleaned them. It's just awesome to just have these. When I had the multi-game cartridge, I would use these, put them in here, and then boom, they would come back here. Just the sound, just, you know, just recreating all that stuff. And something that happened to me 3 days ago, I'm just gonna add this additional detail to this video, is I was playing, actually. You can see this panel here. I was playing with this key inside of this lock, and every time you play, well, obviously you're pushing the buttons, and the vibrations cause this lock to actually move. If you have the key inside, it's going to start moving like this, to the point where this panel goes wham and falls. And when I'm playing, normally you'd think, well, your legs get in the way, but I've got my legs spread out because I'm all by myself, right? I'm playing by myself. And when this fell, it fell like this, boom, and guess what? The key broke. Yep, I trick you not. The key broke, and half of it stayed inside, and the other half, well, it's just somewhere. So I had to replace that. I actually had a spare that I got from a guy from England, and I just replaced that really quickly. And actually, I didn't know I had a spare, so before I actually replaced this, I immediately went on Yahoo Auctions, And I got myself some locks with some keys at a very cheap price. They're not the same. They're kind of more modern, from more modern Sega cabinets. And I'm gonna get those in a couple of days, so I might make a video of that. Maybe not too interesting, but I've got four. I bought 5 locks with 2 keys that are brand new, and just for 20 bucks. Can you imagine? I actually bought this key and this lock maybe 2 years ago for about 6,000 yen, so about 60 bucks. Because I had to bring it from abroad, because back in the day I didn't know much about Yahoo auctions. Now I'm a little wiser, so I don't make retarded purchases. So yeah, and the ambulance is coming, not for me. So yeah, anyway, you see with this arcade cabinet, a lot of adventures, a lot of cool stuff happening. Sometimes not the best stuff happens, like breaking the key, because it's expensive, but with Yahoo Auctions, yeah, you can find the solution without getting ripped off by other companies. So yeah, there you go, that's my video of the insides. Obviously, I'm gonna start modifying stuff. I'm gonna start adding new stuff. This is getting interesting. I like making these videos, and if people appreciate these videos, then I'm really happy. Again, these videos can be used for like documenting, just understanding more about these cabinets. So yeah, kind of bare bones. And actually, before I finish this video, it's kind of a teaser, but you can see there, that's the desk I never use. An arcade cabinet, a huge space, and an unused desk. I wonder what's gonna happen in this space right there. Only time will tell.